Arthur, King of the Britons, your knights of the Round Table shall have a task to make them an example in these dark times.
Good idea, O Lord.
Of course it's a good idea!
So, guess what movie I just saw? King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword is a movie directed by Guy Ritchie, who made the masterpiece Snatch and the two famous Sherlock Holmes movies starring Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. I'm a big fan of Guy Ritchie. I really liked his sense of humor. They were really smart, they're really quippy, and I really liked the way he edits action film sequences. It feels like an adrenaline rush. It doesn't stop. It's always really, really exciting. So this movie is the origin story to the mythology of King Arthur. But there was a lot of Lord of the Rings fantasy elements involved. There were sorcerers, mages, magic, giant elephants, and other giant creatures. When I saw the trailer, I know I'm in for something very special. Like I said, I always enjoyed the way Guy Ritchie does his editing. They were really, really smart. For example, one of the examples I can give is when someone said, when one of the characters say, like, "What are we gonna do if they find us?" And then the next thing it will cut was them running, and the guy say, "Run! Run for your lives!" It's just one of the examples I can give. And not a very good example, but I think you know what I'm trying to get at. And if you still don't get it, just watch Sherlock Holmes, the second one, Game of Shadows, and the chase scene in the jungle is what exactly the whole movie is. The editing of the whole movie is done. Like I said, the pacing of the movie is magnificent. It feels like you're watching a 2-hour movie and there's no break and just adrenaline rush. It is awesome. However, the problem with it is you don't get a break. You don't spend any time to know the character or to know where the plot is going. So that's a point that we'll get into a minute later. And yes, as you can see in the trailer, there are a lot of CGIs involved in the movie. But the CGI are really well done, and the way they incorporate the CGI into the action sequences are pretty good too. In fact, as I was watching the movie, I said to myself, it felt like a video game. I mean, it's reminded me something straight from the Witcher 3 cinematic trailer, like this one. And yes, that's how the action sequences go, like for at least 60% of the time. Now I feel like at this point I realize why some people really like this movie and some people really hate this movie. Because CGI is a really big topic. There were a lot of people feel like there should be more practical effect and complained that movies nowadays is overblown with CGI effect. But for me, my thought is if it's well done, it is well done. And I don't see any flaws, at least in this movie, concerning with CGI, so I'll give it a pass. Some of the actings are pretty good too. Jude Law in this movie is absolutely phenomenal. He played the villain of the movie, and he would sacrifice anything to gain power, even his loved ones. So on the one hand, we got a vicious tyrant who is lust for power, but on the other hand, we see the man who is tormented over his decision. However, the main character played by Charlie Holman is not as good as Jude Law. He doesn't show anything that convinces you that he would be the future King Arthur. And especially in a fantasy movie like this, in a movie that was set in a ridiculous world, you really do need a main character that you can root for. But unfortunately, this movie doesn't provide it. And so are so are some other characters, some other main characters who are on his side. They were not that convincing. They try to make an effort, but I think mostly it's because the script doesn't give them much room to develop. In fact, the script, the whole movie, most of the time, are focusing on the action rather than any real character development, anything that reflects their thoughts, what they think, why they do. Most of them, they are not very well explained. I think that's mostly because of the runtime. From what I heard, when Guy Ritchie first presented the film, it's 3 hour long, and I think the producer asked him to cut it down to a 2 hour, and that's how it felt like. I feel like there was a lot of lore, there's a lot of stories involving the characters that are not being explained. Like you can tell there was a lot of that stuff that are left in the editing room. I really hope like they can release a director's cut to explain what more of the things that happens, like what kind of the story, the wars, some of the characters' backstories, etc., etc. Also, the main lead lady in the movie, she's just bad. And David Beckham is in the movie. Yeah, he's an actor now. Guys, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword is another one of the popcorn movies. It's very eye candy-ish. It's very exciting. It's fun. It's not boring like in Warcraft. So if you want to have a fun time, if you want to have a laugh, get some excitement, this is a choice for you. But if you want a good, coherent, well-made action movie, and you want to see a great Guy Ritchie movie, I think you'll be disappointed. Like I said, this is a very mixed bag movie. If you like it, then I like it too. But if you hate it, I understand why you're hating it. It's one of those movies. I'm gonna give this movie a 6.5 sword out of 10. Given what I saw and what I heard, I think this movie is gonna be a box office flop. It has a budget of $175 million. I don't think it will cast most interest in North American, certainly not Chinese audiences. And the only chance this movie has in earning any money was in Europe. And frankly, I don't see it happening. But hey, Guy Ritchie is gonna direct the next Aladdin movies, so I hope it will be good. But I feel like if I'm Guy Ritchie, there were two things I need to change. One, I think Guy Ritchie should work on his script better. He should be focusing more on the plot and characters rather than the gimmicks. And two, don't make it into a musical. Because frankly, I don't think Guy Ritchie is the guy that is very good with musicals. He's very good with actions and comedy, but musicals? Okay, King Author, have you seen it? What do you think of it? Please leave a comment to me and subscribe or like my video if you like it. Because if you think I'm good, you are pretty good too.